So, who else had an interesting 2022? Because it couldn't have just been me. Whether it was good, bad, great, leave a comment below so we can all kind of lift each other up if it went bad, or say, oh my gosh, you kicked ass if it went great. Now, let's talk about how my year went. Because surprisingly, writing stuff down apparently helps you manifest stuff. Who knew? I'm not a vision board type person. Never really thought that was something that worked. But writing stuff down, I'm totally okay with. Now, for me, I'm gonna say I had a good year and I had 2 big wins out of this. First and foremost, I hit my revenue goal that I set in 2021, which is kind of a surprise because I don't do much marketing. I was doing this part-time as gigs came around from word of mouth and referrals. That is it. And surprisingly, I made like $13,000 in revenue, not profit. Those are 2 different things we'll talk about later, but I'll take it. That's awesome. Now, the second big win was after having the camera for a decade, I finally replaced my very loud and starting to malfunction 60D. And that's really important because the niche that I love doing is unit stills. And in unit stills, loud camera means you get thrown off set. You either have to have it in a blimp, which makes it really hard to do any on-the-fly changes, or you need to have a mirrorless camera. Now, back in like 2018, 2019, to supplement my 60D, which had all my lenses, I ended up buying a Fujifilm X-T3, which has worked okay, but I have ended up in so many dark places, whether it's a cabin with basically no light, whether it's multiple shoots in the middle of the woods at like midnight. It just wasn't holding up in those conditions as well as I needed them to. So I pulled the trigger. Now, the reason I finally made the change after basically a decade, really more like 2-3 years of knowing I needed to upgrade sometime soon, was actually an event. I was shooting an event with my 60D, the focus wasn't working, the flash was misfiring, it was really dark, people were not in focus. It was bad. It was bad. There were still some usable shots, but I was just looking through the photos, was so frustrated. And luckily, I saved a bunch with Topaz AI, thank God. Well, not a bunch, I saved enough that it just... Don't let your gear ruin your shoot. That's all I'm saying, and have backups on backups. Anyway, that was my breaking point, and I said, screw it, we're updating, we're upgrading, I don't care how I'm gonna do it. So, I went to the local camera store about 3 hours away. No, it's like an hour and a half away, 2 hours away driving, and I wanted to get hands-on with the camera. So it was between an R6 and a Sony A7 III, IV, I didn't know. I wanted to stick with Canon, but I had worked with a Sony before in a shoot. That is in a blog if you want to check it out. And my gut and handling it, I went with the Sony A7 IV, which was a lot of money, but it was worth it. So now I'm paying that off over the next year. But I'm gonna say that's a win because I needed to upgrade that camera. My old camera was holding me back. It was causing issues. It was going to cost me jobs if I kept using it. So, like I asked, what about you? What big wins did you have this year? Let me know. I'd love to talk about it.